Hear that? Believe it or not, summer is just around the corner. Luckily, Armor All, America's most trusted auto appearance brand, has what your car needs to get that perfect summer shine. Plus, now through May 31st, we'll give you $5 for every $20 you spend on Armor All products. That means car wash pods, protectant, tire shine, you name it. Find out how to get your $5 rebate at armorall.com. Armor All, less work, more clean. Terms apply.
This week, we're resharing one of our favorite episodes of the Single Tracks podcast. If you've already heard this one, don't worry, because we'll be back next week with an all-new show. Are you enjoying the Single Tracks podcast? Well, we could use your support. The small but dedicated Single Tracks team works hard to share the mountain bike information that inspires epic adventures through this podcast, our worldwide database of trail maps and photos, and daily news and reviews on the website. So consider becoming a monthly, annual, or lifetime pro supporter and enjoy ad-free browsing on the website, free Single Tracks stickers in the mail, and discounts on merch for as little as $3 per month. Go to singletracks.com/support to sign up and to find out other ways you can help support our mission. That's singletracks.com/support. Thank you and happy trails. Hey everybody, welcome to the Single Tracks podcast. My name is Jeff, and today my guest is Fabio Wibmer. Fabio is an Austrian trials rider and mountain biker with almost 6 million YouTube followers, and he's closing in on 1 billion views. He's known for starring in videos like Wibmer's Law, Fabulous Escape 1 and 2, and most recently, Home Office. In addition to trials riding, Fabio is also a winning downhill and freeride mountain biker. Thanks for joining us, Fabio.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's awesome.
Yes. So you're currently recovering from a broken foot following a dirt bike crash, I believe, in November. How are you feeling?
Yeah, it's going all right. As you just said, I had quite a big dirt bike crash where I was riding my motocross bike.
Mm-hmm.
And I just had a very unlucky crash, and I just somehow touched the front brake on my motorbike, and it instantly stopped and went dead sailor pretty much. And then I had to go off and hit my foot pretty hard and smash it to the ground. So first I wasn't really sure what's wrong, but then I went to the hospital and they saw that it's actually broken in a couple of pieces. So I had to get fixed, had to get a surgery, and now I'm 5 weeks in since the surgery and trying to get back on my bike as soon as possible. But it just takes quite some time, as it's not a very easy injury. So I just have to wait a lot and doing a lot of physio and rehab stuff all the time. But yeah, it's part of it.
Yeah, I guess so. I imagine you've had a number of injuries over the years. Do you have tips or tricks for recovering from injury? And how do you fill your time when you're off the bike? I bet you get kind of anxious to get back out there.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I think I was quite lucky in the past with my crashes and with my injuries. I had tons of hard crashes in the past, but I was pretty lucky to walk away from most of them without having any big injuries. So the biggest one was broken collarbone, and then this injury now. So that wasn't too bad for my crashes, I would say. And so therefore I'm not really used to being injured. And I'm also when I broke my collarbone last time, I definitely had a lot to do. As I was just about to release a video, so I was just trying to spend my time with editing and stuff like that. But now, it can be quite hard to just handle an injury, because it just it just sucks, because all you want to do is ride your bikes pretty much, and now you can't, and just takes so much time. And when you think of it, how more time you have to, and how much energy you have to put into the injury to get back on the bike, just really, it's really hard for your mind. And sometimes it can be quite hard to properly stay positive in some situations. But I think most of the athletes, or at least myself, and I think a lot of others, we're trying our best, and we're just like thinking about the good things of biking. And when you've got a goal, even when you're injured, then I think you can be back on the bike or on whatever you have, like pretty soon. And it's just like, sometimes can be like a good process to learn stuff, and which can also give you opportunities as well, not just yeah, bad things. So
Yeah. I mean, I imagine it kind of messes with your plans too, your projects that you're working on or hoping to work on coming up. What does that do for your confidence, if anything at all? I mean, after an injury, are you nervous about getting back into that situation? Like, are you gonna be riding motorcycles, much after this?
yeah, it definitely messes with the plans, that's for sure. I mean, I quite some plans for the next few weeks and months, but things like this can happen all the time, and I think you just have to, take them and just yeah, take the best out of it. But yeah, I'm not quite sure how it affects my confidence, to be honest. Also, I mean, I know what I did wrong, and I think that's like one of the most important things when it comes to an injury. Like, know what you did wrong and why it happened, and if you yeah, can learn from that, you can probably avoid that in the future and learn out of that. And but yeah, it's definitely going to be a strange feeling being on a motorcycle again, but I think yeah, I definitely want to ride again, and I don't think this injury will help me off of riding my motorbike, I guess.
Yeah. Is moto sort of a hobby for you, or is that something that you use to get better on your mountain bike?
I think it's definitely both. I mean, I started motocross racing when I was 6 years young, and yeah, my father, he was super interested in motocross racing and super into it, and then he bought me and my brother a motocross bike, and since that we were like riding all the time on a motocross bike, and we were also competing in races, stuff like that,
Hmm.
for almost 10 years. So my background is definitely motocross racing, and I don't know, I just like think it's one of the coolest sports you can do, and it's just so much fun. And it's also very close to biking, which is super cool. And I think like having motocross as an extra training thing for your biking discipline is definitely really cool and definitely helpful.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, yeah, I was going to ask you about how you sort of got started as a kid riding, and it sounds like it was very early on. When did you sort of realize that you were more talented or maybe just more passionate than other kids your age at riding bikes or riding motorcycles?
Yeah, I think the problem back in the days was me and my brother, we were just allowed to ride motorbikes on the weekends, and not on every weekend, just because we didn't have the opportunity to go out of the house and race our bikes, because there were no tracks around us. The closest track was 2 hours away
Hmm.
from where I grew up, so it was super hard to actually ride motocross. But it was super fun, and I think for you know during the week, I was trying to find something similar to motocross, and I think that's where my passion and love for biking came up. And yeah, I just love to ride bikes all the time during the week, and on the weekends we were racing motocross. So it gave me kind of like a good mixture of both, and we were just building jumps in the woods with my friends, and I always loved being on the bike,
Hmm.
but I never really liked to pedal up somewhere or to go somewhere. And yeah, focus was all about jumps and doing whips and building yeah stuff in the woods with my friends.
Yeah.
So that was the best time ever. And then at the age of I think it was 14 or 15, I saw the video from Danny McCaskill. Since that day when I saw that video, like my mind was blown away from his riding, and I knew I need to get a bike like he had. And then I got one, and since that day, since I had that bike, and since I got it, I was so obsessed with trials biking that I just like couldn't stop. I was riding every single day for at least like 3 or 4 hours after school. and trying out tricks that Danny did back in the days. And I was just obsessed with it. And the cool thing about trials biking on that, like back in the days, was that I was able to go out of the house and do something without, needing to go somewhere, without like doing anything. I just had the bike, and I was able to go out and ride pretty much all day long after school. And that's what I did. And that's when my passion for biking started to become more intense than ever, I would say. And yeah, I also loved making videos. There was another passion which I loved. I think also because Danny really inspired me with his videos, and I don't know. I just felt like whenever I'm filming something, I'm also learning something because I'm able to look at things that I'm doing and look at the things I'm doing wrong and then learn out of them. Was super helpful for me, and definitely helped me a lot in my process.
Yeah, that's interesting because I guess a lot of people think about making videos and they think, about the people who are going to watch it. But, you've found that you can use those videos yourself to improve and kind of critique yourself and learn from it and try new things, and also love your background. I mean, it's just so diverse in terms of like urban stuff and, writing, getting creative with whatever you have around, and also riding trails and doing moto riding, which is, a lot more speed involved. And yeah, that really comes through in all the videos that you've done, which is pretty awesome to see.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I think when it comes to trying to use what you have, and that's my style of writing is also, thinking about things which you see every single day and then using them as your playground. And that probably comes from growing up in a very small village. I mean, the village where I grew up, there are just 100 people who live there, so there's not much to do. And we weren't able, to properly go somewhere else by our own, where we can do more stuff. So I had to deal with the things we had in our village, and that was pretty much a wall and the rail. And I was riding that rail every single day for hours. And this definitely taught me a lot on how to see things in a different way, and how to take one thing and then not just seeing the easy way to go over it, or to ride on it, but then also the more creative way, and how to use something simple like a rail in all kind of different ways. And I think that's something which really helped me in the past.
Yeah. And that's such a great story too, to hear about your inspiration, seeing Danny McCaskill, in his videos. And then how long was it before you actually were riding with Danny after seeing that? I mean, how many years was it before you sort of, got to that level?
Oh, that's a really good question. I think it must have been probably around like 3 to 4 years.
Wow.
I can remember Danny doing a workshop in Munich. He was doing a workshop, and he was on the internet saying that they are looking for 15 riders who are able to ride with him. And those riders who want to ride with him, they have to film a video, a clip, and put it online and show it to them. And they're gonna pick the 15 best riders. So I can totally remember that day when I was filming that video and trying my best to make it as good as possible.
No pressure.
So that was yeah, and then I was lucky enough to be that I was one of the 15 chosen people.
Uh-huh.
And then I went there, and the first day or the first time when I saw Danny, I was like so nervous because he was just the biggest inspiration ever. And he was, the reason why I started riding trials and why I got into the biking thing more. When the day comes where you meet the biggest role model of your life, it's super special. And like riding together with him was even better. So that was really cool. And then after this workshop, which was I think 2 days long, after this workshop, I think, yeah, we went to, it was called the Dresla Camp in Czech Republic. That's like a big trials bike festival, more or less. And I went there with another friend of mine, and Danny was also there. And then the sponsor from Danny Inspired Bicycles back in the days, they were also, supporting me in a way and giving me a frame and stuff like that. And they asked me if I want to be part of a little video shoot in the Czech Republic while we were there. So that was the first time I was hanging out with Danny, and yeah, I just like couldn't really talk to him because I was, super nervous, young, and it was really hard to find proper words talking with him. So that was really exciting.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, and now, yeah, I'm sure that it's the same with you. I mean, you inspire riders in the same way, and I'm sure you get a lot of those types of interactions with younger riders who are, yeah, super stoked to meet you or to ride with you. So really cool to see that come full circle. So one of the recent videos that you did was home office. And again, this just shows your creativity and your ability to find interesting things to do with your bike, no matter where you are. And in this case, it was at your house during the pandemic. A lot of people are, kind of stuck at home, and you found a really fun way to make a video out of it. And I've probably watched that video, 20 times already. And it's just awesome. Like some of that stuff, it's insane, how you're able to do that. Are there any tricks, that you really wanted to include in home office, but you weren't able to complete? Like, I'm curious to know how you know when it's time to move on from a trick. Like it's just not happening. Does that happen to you?
It can definitely happen, but I think like most of the time I can really judge my abilities, and I kind of like know what I could do. And most of the tricks, like home office it was super funny because I had those like couple of crazy ideas, and the things I did in the video. And I mean, like honestly, I wasn't sure if any of those tricks will ever work or not, or if it's just like in my mind that it can work. So yeah, but like theoretically, I thought, well, yeah, this might work, and if I just like try those things over and over again, there has to be the try when it works, and
Yeah.
it should be, and that was home office all about, just like trying, those tricks over and over again, and not giving up pretty much. There were tricks like the basketball trick where I hit the basketball with my rear wheel and it went into the basket. So that was one where I was sure, well, I don't think it's gonna work. But then, I had a couple of tries and I didn't really hit my rear wheel on the ball, and I was like, yeah, well, this might be tricky. But then there was a try where I hit it actually, where I hit the ball with my rear wheel, and it was like, yeah, well, if I give this enough tries, then like maybe there will be a try when it works. And as we had lockdown, you know, we didn't really have any time pressure. And I mean, we were at home, so we were pretty much just like messing around and doing things where we weren't sure if they're gonna work. But then in the end, like honestly, like all of them somehow worked out. I mean, the basketball trick, I think took 500 or 600 tries until we got it. But it's yeah, it's quite funny that everything worked out, which I didn't think in the beginning. But yeah, with enough tries, you can do quite a lot. And also, those tricks, they weren't, like super technical tricks, riding wise, I would say. It was more like, some funny things, some fun things which you have to try over and over again and do. And it's gonna be luck if it's gonna happen and if it's gonna work.
We must have to have a lot of patience to do that, to be able to try it over and over again. I mean, how many times did like the dart trick take for you?
Yeah, there was another one. We were actually playing dart a day before we had the idea, or like at the same day when we had the idea, and the next day we tried to film it. And we were playing dart, and my friend Hannes was like he said to me, "Well, this would be amazing if you would like be able to shoot a dart pin with your bike." And I was like, "Yeah, well, there's no way how to do that." But then we were like, "Yeah, well, maybe there could be a way that it might work." And we're just bringing the bike, and I was just like trying to hit it with my handlebar, and somehow we saw that it's going into that direction, but it was like far away from working. So we said, well, if we're gonna give this enough tries, it might work. And then the next day we were trying to do it, and we were not able to do it, and it was just also super tiring. And then like the next day we tried it again, and like in overall I think I got like punctures or seven.
Oh, wow.
It was just like a pain in the ass trying that trick and knowing, well, I might get another puncture now and have to repair it.
Yeah.
So that wasn't ideal, but then I think also after 400 or 500 tries it worked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Geez, 400 or 500 times. That's crazy. Well, do you consider yourself a perfectionist? Do you get really angry, or what happens when you can't land a trick and you're having a hard time with it?
I think I'm definitely a perfectionist, yeah, when it comes to that. And, you know, I think my people who are working with me, it might be hard sometimes for them
Yeah.
because I'm just like, whenever something is like good and really good, I'm like, yeah, but I think we can do better. And I think we can have another try and maybe film it from that angle or do it even better. And yeah, it might be sometimes really difficult for me, but I also enjoy, trying to make especially my videos and my writing like as good as possible. And like if you spend a lot of time with something, it's always worth to go the extra mile and make it perfect rather than just leaving it at a 90%, where you know that it could be 100%. And that's just my attitude to like either do it like full or and with full energy, or not doing it at all.
Yeah. And I imagine your crew is there to kind of help you with that. Or are they saying, come on, that was good enough. Let's move on?
Sure. I mean, they know me by now, and they know how my brain works a bit, I would say, which is definitely really helpful. And the crew, I'm working together with them now for years, and they were growing with me, so that's definitely cool. But I definitely had like quite some moments where they were saying, "Yeah, let's move on. We need to do other stuff, and the time is short."
Mm-hmm.
But and where I said, no, I want to try this, I want to get it perfect, otherwise we're not gonna move on. And
Yeah.
sure, it can be quite hard, but they always understand the way of how I'm thinking. And I think they also like really trust me in the process. And also for myself, it's super important to have those people around me where I know, well, if I'm telling them I'm gonna do, I don't know, 20 more tries on that, or even 50 more tries, they know why it's gonna worth it,
Yeah.
and why I want to do that. So having those people around is yeah, definitely super important for me.
Yeah. Well, watching your videos, it's clear that you're incredibly confident on the bike. Where did you get that confidence, and how do you continue to build on it and grow it?
That's quite hard to say where I got the confidence, but I think it's probably just because I'm riding, a lot of different disciplines and a lot of different styles, and I'm just like I love, mixing that together. And I think the style of every single discipline requires different abilities on the bike. And I think that really gives me a good overall feeling on the bike, and gives me the opportunity to maybe like mix like stuff from other disciplines into a certain discipline on biking, and just like bringing a little bit of a mixture in there. And I think that definitely also gives me quite some confidence to try new things. And yeah, I just like to mix things up a bit and try out new things. And I don't think I could ride like all my life trials, or I could all ride all my life downhill. And I think having this as a mixture, big jumps with downhills, but then also super techy things on the trials bike. I think that gives me quite some confidence in general on a bike.
Yeah. Well, and it sounds like too, you dedicate a ton of time to practice. I mean, especially in the early days of trying things over and over again. When you first try something, would you say that you're cautious? Like, do you kind of ease into things, or are you the kind of person who looks at a big jump and just says, I'm going to go for it?
That it really depends, but most of the time, I've got something in my mind. I'm thinking so much about it that I really know, well, yeah, this could work or this is not going to work. And sometimes people are like, well, this is like super crazy, and do you not want to, properly work on that jump
Yeah.
to do it? Like, for example, I did in Fabulous Escape 2 when I was riding Saalbach in the winter and doing that snow video. I was doing a double flip over a snowboard kicker, and I hit that kicker, and like honestly, it felt pretty big. And I just wanted to do that double flip for my video, and I had this in mind for quite some while. And I was like, yeah, like maybe this could work on a downhill bike, but to be honest, I wasn't sure if it's gonna work. Also, I did like one double flip on my trials bike before, which was on an airbag, and then I did one on dirt on my trials bike, but I've never ever tried one on my downhill bike. But yeah, as I said, sometimes it's just in my head where I'm thinking about the stuff, and if I can imagine everything and everything goes well in my head, then it might work in real life as well.
Yeah.
And that was also the case with that double flip. I was just thinking, well, if I'm gonna pull hard enough, and the size of the jump fits, in my opinion, perfectly. And then I was like, yeah, if I'm going full send, I can definitely do it, and I can definitely land it. And that's how it works with a lot of stuff I'm doing.
Yeah.
I should probably prepare myself maybe a bit more on some things. And that's also what I learned from the past, because I'm usually, for sure I'm thinking a lot about this stuff, but I'm not like properly preparing, sometimes for jumps and, or like for tricks. Because I'm just like thinking, well, if we're going to film it, but I can, you know, I'm just going to try it. And, if I can, imagine it in my head, then it should work. So that's sometimes how my brain works.
Yeah, that's fascinating. And, that's not the first time I've heard that from, an elite level athlete, not just in biking, but other sports as well, that, this positive visualization is really powerful. But for regular folks like me and a lot of riders, it's hard to imagine, right? It's hard to understand that. And few of us have reached that level. So that's really cool to hear and to really think about it. So of all the videos that you've done, which video project are you the most proud of?
It's really hard to tell because every single project got something very special. But if I would have to pick one, I would probably say my Wimmer's Law video, which I was filming in Austria on my trials bike.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it took like so much time and so much effort from everyone, not just from me, but also from the crew. And there was so much work going on behind and so much preparation that this was probably one of the coolest ones. And I also had a little injury where we had to stop, but then winter came, and like in overall, it took us, I think, all over 1.5 years to finish it. And and also like some of the tricks, they were like pretty cool and something I dreamed of doing. Something like jumping from a truck onto another truck and stuff, or from a bridge onto a truck. There was something I was imagining for such a long time, and that video, yeah, is probably my favorite one to date, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, that makes sense. That's the one you worked the hardest on. And I believe it's your most popular video, right? The one with the most views so far.
Yeah. That one's pretty crazy. like it's online, I think, for 1.5 years, and it went yeah, super, like, got in some insane amount of clicks. That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. That's amazing too, because it's something that people outside of biking can watch and they can understand it and get excited about it. And it just is such a cool crossover to see that. So in addition to being an incredible urban trials rider, you're also very accomplished in both free ride and downhill mountain biking. So what are some of the skills that cross over between trials and mountain biking?
Yeah, it's hard to tell which are the skills that cross over, but for sure, the bike feeling in general is super important for both of them. But both of them are like super different, and that's why usually it's pretty funny to watch. But usually trials riders are not properly able to jump like big jumps just because it's so different. Like handling the bike
Yeah.
is a complete different way than handling like a downhill bike on big freeride jumps. And I think I was lucky enough to experience the big jumps on my motocross bike when I was a kid, and therefore I've got that feeling somehow, which I translated to biking. And but then also when I was younger, I started riding trials. So both of those like different disciplines I was learning when I was young, and I think I was super lucky with that. Just because, yeah, as I said, they're super different, and free riding takes so much like bike control as well, and feeling in general of judging the speed, right? Of judging, your bike, and getting a good feeling in the air. Where trials is really taking, every single concentration, which you like, and every single brain
Yeah.
thing which you've got for super techy stuff. But that's quite different. But then bringing that together can be also super funny, like doing trial stuff on a downhill bike and mixing that together, or on an enduro bike where you do trialsy stuff, but then also big jumps. They can be super fun, but it's yeah, it's definitely, it can be quite hard to change from one thing like trials, which is very unique, to another thing like free ride, and do that thing. And also, it's hard when you're not like focusing on one discipline to always, be 100% ready for it.
Hmm.
And sometimes I'm riding my trials like for, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks, and then I'm doing something on my freeride bike, and it just takes 1 or 2 days to get properly used to it again and to get into it.
Yeah.
So that can be quite interesting.
Yeah. There's definitely that speed differential that you kind of mentioned where trials is much slower, but you're also doing a lot of creative things on the bike. And then, with downhill in particular, it's all about speed. And it's been amazing to watch how you kind of blend the two, and you can take some of the creativity from trials and then bring it over to downhill and to free ride. And speaking of which, you've collected a few whip-off titles over the years as well. So what's sort of your secret for pulling off a really good whip?
Yeah, the secret, I don't know if there is a secret, to be honest. I think it's more about having the bike feeling
Hmm.
inside you. I mean, and I always loved doing whips. Like, I can remember being a kid, I was watching, the big guys in motocross, the big guys in mountain biking doing whips, and that was the most stylish thing ever for me. And like back in the days when I was riding motocross, I was always trying to do whips, and I can remember my father telling me not to do any whips, just because it's not, it can be dangerous sometimes. It's not, and it's not gonna save you time. And but I was always wanted to do like whips, and try them over and over again. And it's just one of the most fun things ever. But what the secret is really, it's really difficult to tell. I mean, there are quite some different techniques of doing a whip. Like mine, for example, is not very clean, and sometimes I don't bring it back. But that's just like my style, and I feel like a whip can be a bit rough, and can be a bit. not so clean as well,
Yeah.
which gives like something a little bit of extra to whip for me. But there are quite some different opinions on that. But that's just like my style, and for that, pretty much, just, trying to lay down as flat as possible and trying to lay down the bike also as flat as possible. And also, it really depends on the jump, but usually the more air time you have, the easier it is to get a good feeling for it. But in general, I would say it's all about trying it over and over again and trying, to get slowly used to it, and riding your bike as much as possible and jumping as much as possible.
Yeah, that seems to be the answer for everything. I mean, yeah, as much as we wish that we could instantly be good at something or, be able to do what others can do, it's all about practice and trying things over and over. So you've traveled all over the world for your 6 series. What are some of the best trails and places that you've ridden?
That's another hard one, but I mean, I've traveled, as you said, I've traveled to quite some cool places already, which I'm very thankful for. And, having the opportunity to travel, to so many different places just because biking is great. And I definitely visited a couple of places where there were some good trails, but usually when I'm going somewhere, most of the time I'm riding street somewhere most of the time, and therefore I definitely know like some really good cities. But when it comes to trails, I mean, for sure Whistler is pretty cool, which I really like to ride. Like top of the world is definitely really cool to me, and a lot of fun. But then also, I mean, I love riding Saarbach. That's also where I'm riding a lot of trails. But other than that, to be honest, I didn't really ride much trails. I just ride a lot of big jumps and street stuff.
Yeah. Where's the best street riding? Is it all in Europe? I mean, it seems like, obviously you're based there, and a lot of the top riders are. And so we see a lot of videos that are filmed on the streets in Europe. Are there other places around the world you visited that have good street riding? And what makes good street riding too, by the way?
Yeah, I mean it's really different, like from city to city, what makes street riding good. Some cities they've got quite some good curves and stuff like that, or like cool walls, and sometimes it doesn't take much that it's a good street spot. Sometimes a wall in the perfect size with another wall in combination can be the perfect street spot for us trial riders. But I mean, for sure, cities like Barcelona are definitely one of the coolest places I've ever been, just because it's such a good city with so many walls and curves and everything, which is really cool. But then also Cape Town was pretty cool. It was another cool city. Also San Francisco. I was there a couple of times in the riding street. Also with Martin Soderstrom, we had one of the coolest days there, riding street. And there are definitely a lot of different places where street riding is really good. And sometimes it doesn't take too much to have a good spot or to have fun on your bike.
Yeah. Well, clearly your huge following gives you a position of influence among young riders in particular. Do you have anything you want to say to the kids who look up to you?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, for kids, I think it's good to have, it's amazing to have role models and to, trying to do the things like the pro riders are doing, or maybe even what I'm doing. And that's also like really cool to see. And I think one of the most important things which I could probably tell someone who wants to, I don't know, become a good rider, or who wants to even become a pro rider, is that it's super important to have fun on your bike. It sounds very cheesy and classy, but like if you really want to become a pro, and if you really dedicate yourself to that, then you can definitely do it. And if it's fun to you, and then definitely you can make it. But just not be too much focused on on getting sponsors or on anything else. I think it's all about having fun, and then like if you're having fun and if you're doing great things and if you enjoy it, then the good things will come, and sponsors will come, and you might be able to make even a living out of that, and live from what you love. But I think the most important thing is that you don't lose the main motivation, which is biking and which is the fun that biking brings to you. And if you always keep that in mind, then yeah, it's that's definitely the right way to go.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you give that advice to your younger brother, Gabriel? How did he get into it? And did you encourage him to do that? Or were you just saying, no, just kind of do this for fun?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, it's pretty funny. He actually started riding trials bike before I did. So that was pretty funny. And then, we were riding a lot together when we were younger and doing that stuff. And then, I mean, I moved to Innsbruck and he's still at home. And we're not in contact that much, and we can't unfortunately ride not that much together. But I mean, for sure, that's an advice for him, and he enjoys biking, and he enjoys being on the bike, having fun on the bike, and I think you can like people can also like clearly see that, and he I think he just enjoys doing that stuff as much as I do and making videos, which is cool. And he's working together with another cousin of mine, a cousin of him, who's filming stuff with him. So they're having like tons of fun as well, and that's really cool to see how he developed himself as well, and the path he's going. So he definitely, yeah, it's definitely on a cool path, and yeah, definitely having a lot of fun, which is cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I noticed his latest video. There were a couple of Wibmers who had film credits, camera people. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
So looking beyond your recovery, what types of projects are you working on for 2021?
Yeah, so as I said before, this injury has definitely messed up some of my plans. I was working on a project which I unfortunately had to cancel because of that foot. I actually just wanted to start a project 2 days after, pretty much 2 days after I got injured. So that really sucked.
Oh man.
Yeah, but yeah, we might gonna do it someone later. But the thing is, like, I'm really trying to get fit again and get healthy again, and yeah, trying to recover in the best way possible. And then I think I'm just gonna start slowly, and I'm not sure how 2021 is gonna be and how my food is gonna work. But I've definitely got like a couple of projects in my mind which I really want to do, but I've got no time pressure to do them. So I just want to make sure to get back on my bike and get back in shape as good as possible. And then I'm gonna see what 2021 brings. But for sure, I wanna do something. It might be something maybe a little bit more chilled, without too much danger, I can imagine. But
Yeah.
yeah, we'll see. I'm not decided yet. So
Yeah. Well, it seems like too, it's hard to plan, especially if some of the projects involve travel, whether that's going to be possible next year or not. I mean, are you planning to sort of stick close to home for the first part of the year at least, or were you looking toward like competing in events or going on tour or anything like that?
yeah, that's a problem that's super hard to get a feeling for what's gonna happen and how's 2021 gonna be, especially with the situation going on right now. It's so hard to make any kind of plan. So honestly, I don't set any plans. I'm just focusing 100% on getting back on my bike, and then I'm gonna decide more. Yeah, what I'm gonna do. But for now, I don't really plan too much, and it's just not really possible to make too many plans at the moment. And I think also not necessary for me in that situation. So yeah, gonna keep it quite chill with that at the moment.
Yeah. If you weren't a trials rider and a Red Bull athlete, what do you think you would be doing instead?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question because I mean I always kind of like knew I wanted to be an athlete. But I mean, when I was a kid, I was riding motocross. I was doing quite a lot of different things, also parkour and stuff like that. And I was always, sport was kind of like my life. And I think I dreamed of somehow being, an athlete one day. But you can never take that for granted. So I think I might be somewhere in the sports industry, and maybe even like in biking, just because I love the sport in general, and I like the people, and just like the style and everything. So I might be even doing something like managing someone, or being in the management position somewhere. And I could imagine that, but to be honest, I don't really know what I would do without if I wouldn't have been an athlete.
Good answer. I mean, clearly you're very passionate about biking and about what you do. And, clearly you've found your niche and you're where you're supposed to be. And that's awesome. Well, thanks so much, Fabio, for joining us. I really appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah, thank you. That was cool.
So you can keep up with Fabio anywhere online, really, but mostly his YouTube channel, Instagram, and his websites as well, which we will have linked in the show notes. That's all we've got this week. We'll talk to you again next week.